This week's Parshas is Parshas Bo3. In Parshas Bo3, we have the mitzvah of tefillin. Tefillin is interesting because in the verse it states that the purpose of tefillin is that the Torah of Hashem should be in our mouth. God's Torah should be within our parameters at all time. And then it says, Ki biyad chazaka yitziacha Hashem me'eretz Mitzrayim, because Hashem took you out with a yad chazaka, with a strong hand from Egypt. The two concepts seem so unrelated. Is the purpose of tefillin that we remember the exodus from Egypt, that God released us from our enslavement to our tormentors? Or is the reason because Hashem wants us to remember consistently of our identity, of who we are, and that we have a connection to Him, and the connection is created through the Torah? So, in order to understand this better, we have to throw in yet another idea that seems to be pitched into tefillin. In the paragraph that some say before they put on their tefillin, it discusses in great detail, actually, the idea that the purpose of putting the tefillin near our hearts and our minds is to allow our minds and hearts to become detached from those things that we desire. We live in a physical world, obviously, and we are attracted by the things that surround us, by those things that others value. So in order to protect us from that, the tefillin is supposed to serve as kind of a talisman to be able to release ourselves from those foreign influences, to not have those taivas, those desires, and be able to overcome them. So we have three ideas so far. We have the idea of Torah Hashem beficha, that the Torah of Hashem should be in our mouth. Number two, that it reminds us of the exodus from Egypt. And number three, that it releases us from being attracted to the world, the physical world. So how do we connect all these three? Very shortly, the idea is like this. The purpose of having the Torah of Hashem in our mouth is that it's something that we live. It's not something that we experience momentarily. Originally, the tefillin was worn throughout the day. Because of the high level of holiness of tefillin, we now do not wear it all day. But the purpose was to wear it all day, much like the tzitzis that many people wear all day long. So we were supposed to have this constant reminder of how we have a different identity, we have a different purpose. We lead our lives, we live our lives according to the Torah, and it's something we do on a consistent basis. Now, connecting it to releasing ourselves from the desires of this world, once a person becomes absorbed into the world of Hashem, into doing His will and seeing the world for what it is, having that clarity of vision, now after that, he'll be able to release himself from those desires, not by overcoming them and overpowering them, but by separating himself from them because he's so busy with Torah Hashem, with the Torah of God, living it and having it in a consistent way throughout his life, involving it in every aspect of his life. Now, what does that have to do with Egypt, with Mitzrayim? The word Mitzrayim means boundaries. One of the most effective things Paro did is that he got the Jews so busy and he kept them in such strong constraints that they had no way to relate to their national identity, to who they were in any other way than their work. They were so bogged down, so encumbered by it, that they couldn't release themselves. They couldn't become individuals. And that is what the Exodus from Egypt did. It released them from that influence, that inability to become one's own person. Once that's possible, if a person doesn't just totally identify himself only because of where he is and who he is with, now he can have Torah Hashem befihu, he can have the Torah of Hashem in his mouth, and he can release himself from the desires of this world. That's the process. Quick question, only 10 seconds left, is that why do we put tefillin on the left hand, on our weaker hand, our non-dexterous hand? It's says in the Torah that we should put tefillin specifically on the hand that is weak. Why do we do that? Have a good Shabbos.